Update on the Crown Vic. Yeah, I got the radio blaring. Mom called me and said the rear end was making some noises a few months ago, and I put axle seals and bearings in the ends and changed the gear oil in it. Well, look at the gear oil. I don't know if you can see this, but yeah. This is what happened. I'll show you the stuff coming out of this. It's cooked. The pinion bearing failed and was walking off the ring gear. So I'm putting a differential in. So I just want to show you guys this real quick. There's Mom's exhaust. She's got done. But I'll do another video once I start getting it all apart. I've got to take everything off of this one to put on a new differential. I got it to use differential. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Open the garage up. I want to show you guys this differential that I bought from the junkyard. The garage door open. Between here. There's a differential that I got from the junkyard. And it looks like hell. So I am going to wire brush this all down real good, knock all the rust off of it, clean it all up, change the rotors. Of course, it doesn't come with calipers. I mean, it used to be when you bought a differential, at least it was 30 years ago when I last bought one, that it came with most of the stuff on there. And they even took the damn sway bar link off, or the sway bar off. So I've got to take everything off that one, put it on that one. No big deal, it's just a lot of work. So, yeah, what I was saying was, on her car, the rear differential, I did the outer bearings and the seals, and when I took the cover off, when I took the cover off, the differential was dry, and I'm like, well, that's not good. And I told my mom then, I said the damage has probably been done to it. So I went ahead and I did the outer bearings, and like I said, put new gear oil in it. And it lasted a few months, and it started getting louder again, and I'm like, crap. So me and my brother took it out for a drive last week, and it was a typical bad rear end. You'd hit the throttle and it'd whine like crazy, and let off and it'd get quiet. You hit the throttle and put stress on it and it'd whine like crazy, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's cooked. So then he calls me a couple days later and said that he went to the store with it and it was jumping out of gear. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So I said, let me call around and see if I can find a differential for it, because I figured the gears were chewed up in it. And I found one all the way down about 45 minutes from the house. So I drove Old Blue out there, and $30 worth of fuel to get down there and back to pick the differential up. And I had to take all back roads because you can't run her faster than like 55 continuously. She absolutely is just geared. 513 is it needs an overdrive transmission. So later on down the road, that's something I may do to it, because I want to keep the 513 rear gear and leave that alone since it's been replaced. It's a Jasper built rear end that was done in the early 90s, before I guess Jasper started getting a bad reputation. I know at one time they had really good motors and all this other stuff, but had no problems with it. So I figured I'd stick an overdrive, take out the C6, put an overdrive in it, and that'll take care of my highway speeds. And on the way home, trucking along about 45 mile an hour, 50 mile an hour, I was in a 50 mile an hour zone, trucking along with it, no problem, and it started developing a vibration, and I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me, and it felt like it was coming from the rear. So I backed her down to about 40, and it seemed to ease up, and I was only about, I don't know, 20 minutes away from the house. So I got her home and I checked, and I don't see any tread separation, any bulges in the tires, nothing. So the only thing I can figure is maybe it threw a wheel weight. I'm hoping, because the tires that are on there are from 97. So they're like brand new as far as tread goes, because there's much mileage on them, but they're starting to dry out, and they're the E-load rated tires, so they're really heavy plied, so I'm hoping they'll hold up for at least another couple of years, maybe. before I can afford to get some rear ones. As I checked, and they're $185 each for the tires to replace what's on there. And I'm like, man, I ain't got that kind of money right now. Ain't no way in hell. I barely keep the damn stuff around the house going. So I was just doing an update. Craziest thing happened. TJ, one of my cats, I have rescue kitties. I've had him for 5 years. I woke up in the morning and I could hear him hollering and screaming in the living room. I went out there and he was dragging himself across the floor, and I'm like, oh God. So I am doing the testing his feet and everything that my mom had taught me, because my mom was a vet at one time, and I checked him and he had no feeling in his toes, his back feet. He wouldn't move anything from the middle of his back. So I put him in his crate, took him down to the emergency vet, and they come out and said that he had a blood clot move and was paralyzed from the middle of his back down, and his temperature was dropping. So I had to make the decision to put him to sleep, which sucked. So I'm dealing with that. It's just been kind of weighing on me a little bit, but I did make him a nice little gravestone. Here, I'll show you guys. He was my buddy. He used to come up and roll upside down with me and everything on the bed and all that goofy stuff, but so I did that for him. Sorry, eat my phone. Anyhow, so I will do some more videos of this thing when I get the differential out and show you guys. I'm going to pull that ring and pinion out, and I'll show you guys what happened to the pinion bearing and stuff and what kind of damage it's caused. So you guys remember, if you got rear-wheel drives, you need to check the rear gear oil on them once in a while, because I've seen this before. When we first bought the house in 2004, a few months before we even moved in, I asked the previous owner, hey, can I use the garage since we're going to close on a house in a couple months? And he's like, sure. So a friend of mine brought in their rodeo, and she'd ran rear end out of gear oil to the point where it had no gear left in it. So she drove it home from Cincinnati with the front axle engaged, so she, because it's four-wheel drive. So she drove it back, and she brings it here, and I pull the cover off, and there's literally nothing left in the ring and pinion. $610 later, I got her friggin' rear end fixed. I put a new ring and pinion and stuff in it. That was the only time I have ever done a ring and pinion, so I was scared to death to try it again on Mom's, because of, you have to set your lash and make sure your teeth are meshed up correctly and use the shims in there for your pinion. And it's been so long since I've done that, I'm like, let me see if I can find a differential rather than trying to get into that mess, because if I screw it up, we're right back at square one. So anyhow, I'm just gabbing. I will do probably 2 or 3 part video of this so you guys can see what's going on. This is something else. I love my brother to death, but I told him when he first got it from me, see the rust? I said, fix this before it grows. It was just little spots, and now it's growing up the fender. So this summer I will probably get with him and cut all this out, put new steel in, and at least fix that, because otherwise it's going to eat the fender up. So I hope you guys enjoy my channel. Please like and subscribe and share, and I greatly appreciate it. You guys have a good evening. Thank you.